Her AirDrop named, "For You Only" lit up my train. Then he sat across. The AirDrop alert slid over my phone at 11:58 p.m., a pale rectangle floating above my lock screen like a dare. "For you only." I was on the last train rattling back from the office, the kind of hour when everyone is half shadow and earbuds. The sender name wasn't a name, it was a device. Rowan's iPhone. The preview thumbnail was nothing, a gray grid with promise. Decline, accept. I should have declined. AirDrop after midnight is a genre. But the night was already unhelpful and Leela had texted at 9, "Panel, donors, quick drinks, don't wait up," with an emoji she uses when she wants to make me complicit in her lateness. The train stuttered. The doors held their breath. I hit accept. The file was a 15-second video. My phone asked permission to play it. I gave it permission I should have saved for the morning. The camera opened on a hotel hallway, gray carpet, an art print pretending to be about silence. A hand, steady and generous with rings, entered the frame holding a keycard sleeve. Arcadian. The camera tracked right, showing a door with 1019 on a metal placard. Then a voice, male, practiced kindness like it was a job. "For you only." The shot stayed fixed as the keycard slid into the slot. The light blinked green. The latch clicked. The door opened into dim, breathtaking vacancy. The video ended. My face was reflected faintly in the black of the glass, wide-eyed, betrayed by curiosity, not proof. The train lurched. A woman 2 seats down exhaled the end of a laugh from a joke I hadn't earned. A second AirDrop offer surfaced before my brain had time to name what it was. "For You Only Part 2. Decline, accept." I accepted again like a person who still believes in magic tricks when the magician has already shown his sleeves. Part 2 wasn't a room. It was a shot of a menu card, "Room service late night," held above a white duvet. A hand, his tapped the item "Creme brulee 2, with the same tenderness people save for foreheads. Over the soft scrape of paper, his voice again. "I saved you the spoon." Then the camera dipped, catching the corner of a navy suit tossed on a chair and the edge of a dress I recognized the way you recognize a painting you once touched. The clip ended before anything happened, which is the cruelest way to respect me. I looked up because looking at anything else felt smarter. The doors opened at the river stop. Wind climbed down into the car and made everyone look briefly cinematic. And then he sat across from me. Navy coat, careful posture, hair that had been talked into behaving. A man who files his hunger under logistics. He slid into the seat like he'd been invited, looked at my face as if he were reviewing a document and gave a small, humane smile. "Evan," he said, as if I were a colleague and we had agreed to be reasonable for the sake of the project. "I thought it might be you." "Rowan," I said, keeping my mouth inside my mouth. "You got the videos," he said. Not a question. His voice owned the idea that he was helpful even while he was being unhelpful. "AirDrop after midnight," I said. "Such a civic service." He didn't wince. Men like him don't. They absorb insults as if they're reminders of their own importance. "I didn't want you to find out from the wrong walls," he said. "Leela doesn't like carpets. She prefers kitchens, I thought." "You thought you curate my heartbreak," I said lightly, as if the word heartbreak suited a stranger's mouth. "A gallery show, perhaps. Late viewing." "You're angry," he observed, like he was being thorough. I watched his coat for the movement of his breath and tried to decide which version of myself the car had room for. There's the version that stands up and makes a speech and invites everyone to pretend to look away. There's the version that nods like he's just been told the weather. I chose the third, the one I practice with the right people. I reached for my phone and sent a text to Mara. "Ask the hard way," says my contact list beside her name. "She doesn't live on my train. She lives in the small, exact sentences that save my life from spectacle. I wrote, "AirDrop from him, hotel door, dessert for two. He's sitting across from me." Her reply came fast enough to make me believe in a god of timing. "Bread or sugar?" "Bread," I wrote, even as my mouth watered for sugar. She sent another, "Go home, lamp on, object on table, no speeches on transport." Rowan was watching me without starring, a predatory politeness. "She asked me to tell you it was over," he said, extra gentle on the verb like kindness might be contagious. "She couldn't say it in front of the kettle." "She didn't ask you to airdrop me a menu," I said. The train announced the next stop in a voice that believed we were all equally late. "No," he conceded. "That was me. I thought you seemed to like accuracy." I stood when the doors opened even though it wasn't my stop. "I like kitchens," I said, "and the part where you're not there." "Lucky," he said to my back as I stepped onto the platform. "Trained," I said, which is the line I keep for men who confuse accident with work. On the walk home, the city did that thing where it tries to persuade you to be dramatic, slick streets, sympathetic neon, a bus shelter advertising a perfume named after a decision. I went a Loom instead of the Arcadian because oranges tell the truth and carpets lie. Anna was wiping a clean counter because order is her argument. She took one look at my posture and poured water. "He used the phone like a stage light," she said, not asking. "AirDrop," I said. "Parts 1 and 2. He sat down like a human note." "Spectacle is a sugar crash," she said. "Mara's in the corner." Mara sat with her red scarf folded into good behavior, a notebook flattened by a rubber band, eyes that collect accurate mistakes. She listened without interrupting. When I was done, she slid the notebook toward me and tapped the blank page. "Write down the sentence you can live inside," she said. "Not the one that tastes good, the one that lasts until morning." I wrote, hands shaky but legible, "I didn't go to the hotel. I'm going home." I put my phone on the table. "Good," she said. "Leave the door unlocked for accuracy, not for guests." At home, I put the phone on the table. I turned on one lamp. The dog lifted his head, blinked, and returned to sleep. The apartment practiced being patient. Leela came in at 12:36, hair under the kind of rain that thinks it's theater. She closed the door like someone trying to make sure the hinges behave. She saw the lamp, the phone, me holding still. She looked tired in the way that makes her more beautiful and less safe. "You got something," she said, crossing to the table. "Two somethings," I said. "Door, dessert." She winced. "He believes in proof," she said, disgust and apology sharing the same space. "He thinks cameras make him honest." I gestured to the chair. She sat. The two of us in our kitchen like people who apply for citizenship in a country that's been trying to deport them. "Do you want a scene?" I asked. "Or accuracy?" "Accuracy," she said, throat bare, voice not brave, just decided. I stood in the lobby for 10 minutes. I told myself I wanted to see whether wanting felt true in a room meant for it. I texted him that I wouldn't go up. He said I was cruel. He ordered dessert for two. I left in the elevator I came in. "He sat on my train," I said, which I hadn't planned to say because saying it made it sound scripted. "Of course he did," she said faintly. "He likes to see the shape of things he's tried to control. He calls it compassion." I waited because silence is the only witness in an honest room. "Did you?" I finally started, and hated the liturgy I couldn't stop praying. "No," she said. "Yes, in the sinful sense that I wanted. No, in the muscle sense that I left alone. I hate saying it like that because it makes morality sound like a spin class." We looked at each other over a table that has seen groceries and birthdays and one small emergency with a knife. "Do you need to be touched first?" I asked. "Or do you need to tell me the rest?" "Touch," she said, "then truth, then whatever you need to be after that." We didn't go to bed to erase him. We went because our bodies can remember a script we want to keep when our mouths don't trust themselves. She stood in front of me, and I raised the zipper of her dress. Slow, exact, a motion we reserve for not rushing back to ourselves. The fabric made that small, honest noise of surrender. She placed my palm on her hip and pushed until stay became a law. I kissed the hinge of her jaw where her certainty keeps breathing, and she said my name like a password she intends to keep. We asked the soft questions we always do here, slower, more, and answered in breath, the language of not making a show of survival. We laughed once because a sleeve failed to understand its role, and she rescued me with her teeth. Heat arrived like tide, predictable and astonishing. When we finished, it felt less like victory and more like signing our names to a treaty we actually read. After, she lay with her cheek on my chest and drew a circle over that familiar piece of my sternum where my worst ideas nap. "I'm not pure," she said into skin. "I wanted him to hold a version of me that is easier to admire than to love. I wanted to see my life from an angle that would flatter me, then come home and be the kind of person who chooses ordinary on purpose. It's ugly. It's mine." "I'm not heroic," I said. "I wanted to perform harm on a train. I wanted to announce my decency by withdrawing it. I wanted to be better than you loudly. I chose a lamp instead." "Then let's give ourselves tools," she said, half smile, exhausted and precise. "Not bars." We wrote them with the pencil we keep in the junk drawer because it's the only pen that never judges us. 1. No hotel proof to our devices after 11. If something needs to be said, it gets said where the coffee lives. 2. If a room is required, we name it in the kitchen first and we make it ours by deciding not to go. 3. Novelty is a chore, your weeks, wrong hour for the right thing. My weeks, move the furniture until the light has to remember us. 4. When either of us misses the wrong gaze, we say it out loud and then do 3 stupid ordinary things until wanting becomes a quiet animal again. Peel oranges over the sink. Play one song to the end before anything important. Kiss in the doorway until the apartment believes us. We did them because midnight is merciless and we needed it to clean something. We peeled oranges and let the bright smell forgive us. We played a song we trust, the one that's learned the difference between apology and proof. We kissed in the doorway while the building made those sympathetic clicks pipes make when they decide to be on your side. In the morning, I turned AirDrop to contacts only like a teenager learning to respect himself. I renamed our printer Room Zero to make it less hospitable to theater. I texted Mara a photo of the lamp on, the table empty, the dog waiting for crumbs. She replied with a picture of a theater marquee, LISTNING watching, then a heart without a period, which is her way of saying keep going. At lunch, because I dislike superstition and like accuracy, I walked past the Arcadian. He stood under the awning in navy, practicing benevolence. He caught my eye because that's part of the rehearsal. He gave me a smile that said we're both reasonable men. "You're lucky," he said, "because men like him don't have any other blessing to give." "I know," I said. "I trained for it." "Decency gets dull," he said, one eyebrow doing that lie that believes itself. "We order a very persuasive crème brûlée." "I prefer toast in a kitchen with bad lighting," I said and kept walking. "He doesn't like other people's backs. He'll learn." I went a loom because victory tastes better when Anna names it, and because orange peel smells the way morning should. She slid me a cookie I pretended to refuse and then ate. "Bread," she said, tapping the counter like a benediction. In the corner, Mara lifted her scarf like a flag and mouthed, "Good," the kind of good that means keep going, not you've arrived. Sometimes the night still tries to send me movies. The TV autoplays a life I don't want to borrow. The calendar suggests a focus block at 2 a.m. as if attention were a sacrament. The phone offers nearby devices, share, like correlation could be intimacy. We put the object that hurt us on the table, turn on a lamp, and ask for one sentence we can live inside. We keep picking it. It keeps being enough. On Thursdays, we move the couch 2 inches and watch the room forget and remember us. On Sundays, we play a song to the end before anything important because attention is the muscle we choose to show off. On bad Wednesdays, we peel oranges until our fingers smell like proof. Last night at 11:58 again, because time likes its own jokes, AirDrop lit the screen while I was standing at the window watching taxis practice patience. "For you only," it said, from unknown. I hit decline. Leela stepped behind me and put her chin on my shoulder, mouth warm, voice yes. "What was it?" she asked. "Something with a room," I said. "I prefer our room." "Me too," she said, and kissed the place under my ear where certainty keeps beating. We went to the doorway because that's where we practice applause, and then to the bed because that's where we keep the language we've earned. The ceiling forgave us again. The lamp did its job. The whale magnet held nothing but a joke we have memorized. Room 0. Lights on. 2 people. We are not pure, we are particular and practiced. The train will offer me movies, I will choose kitchens. Men in Navy will bring pens to write inevitabilities, we will edit. When the city asks if we're bored, we count inventory, lemons, bread, a pencil that still writes, a lamp that knows where to aim, a map with only one room marked, home. And under it in our neatest script, for us only.